Gents, the EGL Gears Open, live from Sheffield. I am now joined with my man Darker. How you doing, man?
I'm very, very good. Thank you very much, Toby. Absolute pleasure to be here. Very excited for the weekend's activities. Yeah, just crack, ready to get crack on and do this.
It's been a while since
it's been a while.
Content as well.
It's been a very, very long while.
Yeah, looking very dapper.
Thank you.
I love that tie.
Thank you
Is
very
that
much.
on camera? Yeah, that's clearly on camera. That tie, I like it. I really do like it.
Yeah, well, I picked it up from H&M, I believe. So anyone else looking for a tie of this nature, H&M. So yeah,
I'm sure you're going to bring the hype as usual. It's going to be. It's a blast commentating with you once again, mate.
Yeah.
It's been a while, bit of a throwback, but yeah, we have our next game coming up very soon. Of course, Supremacy versus Evo. I'm sure you're very familiar with Supremacy.
Yes,
Played against them many times in your playing days. Back to Gears 3 as well.
Yeah, they were an amazing team, and they've got the teamwork. Obviously, they've fundamentally as a team Supremacy that kind of we look at we look at kind of Baghdad, we look at Zorkos, Physics. They've kind of always had that teamwork, that togetherness. So they brought it into Gears War 4 and they've done amazingly well. Going to Vegas, coming 8th in Vegas, which was such an achievement for them.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
I kind of feel sorry for them in a way because Fable takes second and then people are overlooking that 7th / 8th place. That's huge for Europe. That's huge. Both of those teams in the top 8. That's a really, really good performance.
Massive. And I kind of watched it on Twitch when it was all going off, and the Fable Ghost, the winners bracket. At first. They were so unlucky. I think they had some great play. There was some really, magic moments from Fable. But I think Ghost just kind of dominated through the one-to-one shotgun fights. Their togetherness as well. Ghost have just become such a together team. With the introduction of Fatal Strike as a coach, that's top.
I think that's helped a lot.
Top pickup. So, Supremacy. Unfortunately, I didn't watch as much of Supremacy as I'd have liked in Vegas. But from what I did see and what I did hear as well, they really brought the fire that event. So, amazing for them, absolutely amazing. So I'm sure they're going to come with that confidence, come into this event and take all the confidence they got from Vegas, bring it here, and we'll see a very good show. Yeah, definitely.
Well, no further delay. Let's get into the picks and bans, shall we, folks? Here it is on screen. Not too flashy, actually. It's just the simple ban of Harbor from Supremacy. Foundation was banned from Evo. Not too surprised, given the caliber of Supremacy players. Similar veto choice there to our previous game. Forge Blitz has actually been the first pick from Supremacy. A very interesting one, actually, against the side of Evo. Reclaimed, picked by Evo as well. Maybe a risky one, in that same line of thought, right?
Definitely. I think that those picks really favour Supremacy. Definitely. I think that Forge Blitz, Reclaimed, Dam, all very team-based maps. And they're amazing shotgunners as well. So that's gonna, I think that Supremacy are gonna come out here with those picks and really bring the fire, and we can see Supremacy take this pretty early, in my opinion, to be honest.
Sure, fair assumption. Impact was banned from Supremacy as well. Lift banned from Evo. Perhaps a little bit more under practice than the rest of the map, so not too surprising. If we do go to it, the last map would be Dam, again in Supremacy's favour. I think this is a very strong pick and ban process for Supremacy for sure. I mean, Evo, going with Reclaim, maybe sticking to their bread and butter, something they practiced, at least get that in there to have like a guaranteed map that they know very well. They've got their teamwork down and ready to go against this top team in the form of Supremacy.
I mean, I think that Reclaimed as a map definitely is a map that a lot of teams play day in, day out. Obviously, when I was scrimming, not to the top level, of course, but when I was scrimming, a lot of teams would always pick Reclaimed as a map to practice. Yep. So obviously I think that Evo, if anything, done a good job there to get that map in. But Supremacy, we've seen on streams before Supremacy on Reclaimed, and they're a very strong team on Reclaimed as well. So they must have thought that pick, they must have been laughing, and we see the cape, the velvet cape.
That is a velvet cape.
That's better than my tie.
It's all about fashion, this event. Did you see Sammy's choice of headphone?
I did not know, but I tell you what I did see is I saw one of the the Spanish guys wearing sunglasses in this very dark room.
It is sunny outside, but we've come in a bit more of a dark environment. So yeah, maybe they're gunners. You know what gunners are, right? They protect your eyes while gaming, perhaps.
I don't think. I mean, I think I saw Ray-Bans down the side.
Well,
so
perhaps not.
I don't think they were gunners.
More of a fashion
statement,
yeah,
definitely.
Fair
yeah, no. I've seen some quite interesting pics of fashion wear this event so far, and I've only been here for an hour, so I'm sure we've got a lot more to come.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Evo Esports, for those who didn't know, who missed the bracket earlier, they are 16th seed. That is the last seed. They're up against number 2 seed, Supremacy.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a bit of a mismatch, perhaps you'd argue.
Well, yeah, definitely.
For me, Elliot, I think this could be going a similar route as we saw with the first match of a 2-0.
Toby, I love an upset. I absolutely love an upset, and you know, this event, I seriously want to see one.
Okay.
I doubt it's going to be this game, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But you know, there's always hope. There's always hope. But obviously, yeah, like you say, very, very correct. You know, second seed versus the last seed, you'd expect Supremacy to just kind of maybe get a bit warmed up, shoot their gun, try and kind of get a feel for the event, try and get a feel for the monitors, a feel for their their controllers, I guess. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pure.
I think Supremacy are going to, I think they're going to force the shotgun battle. Safe to say, you know, be a bit more flexible in how they position, a bit more individualistic, not worry too much about communication. We'll have to wait and see how that actually pans out. We are just about getting into the game, folks. Please do bear with us. It's another little technical issue, but we should be underway very shortly. But you know, just to go through this roster, we've got on Evo Esports, Dupe, White Boy, Tartarus, Conflict, and Tids. That last player I'm sure you're familiar with.
J-Tids. J-Tids, yeah. J-Tids has been around, actually, since the Gal UE days, from the kind of pinnacle of the Gal UE days. And, yeah, he was... I don't think he's ever kind of had that chance to break into a team, you know, a top average to top team. I mean, Gal UE, to be fair, he wasn't. I think he had that gun skill. I just feel like, you know, from playing with him myself, I feel like he just kind of lacked that, I guess, awareness of what was going on. Gal, as we know, Gears 4 is all about awareness, all about map. You know, your map awareness, where someone's going to be, and the rotations. Obviously, is massive in this game. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't had the chance to watch him, see him play as of yet, and obviously, I haven't played him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's come from the Gal UE days onto the Gears 4 days. Definitely.
Yeah, I think he's had a few different teams as well since those UE days. Of course, quite a while ago now, isn't it? Like, time has flown since then, so probably got a lot more practice under his belt.
Definitely.
And not too many events. I haven't seen his name creep up too much on rosters, but you know, he has been here before. He has competed in an event before. Fairly new roster. Curious to see actually how they perform in this one. Difficult game, as we've mentioned, in form of Supremacy.
It's not the game you want first.
But let's talk about Supremacy a little bit, just so we're waiting for this game to get going. You mentioned Baghdad earlier, and I've said it before. I've said it way back in UE when I started casting, that Baghdad is perhaps my personal favourite player in this French side, of course. Formerly R Damage, formerly Vitality. Baghdad has always been at the core. But he's not here today. He's not playing. He's the one player that, if I was to say he has to be in a starting lineup for a team, he needs to be there. But he's not. It's actually their coach, Dynam, who's taking that role today. And curious to see how that influences things, honestly.
I mean, I don't know too much about the Baghdad situation. You know, I've been told, you know, little things here and there, but I mean, that is a massive loss for Supremacy. Baghdad is such a fantastic player. And you know, we've seen him on the MLG, the American main stage. We've seen him produce that. I think it was a game against Jack Reaction's team on main stage that they played kind of two MLG events ago, and I was watching that on Twitch, and he was fantastic. You know, great shotgunner, great individual skill. You know,
so consistent.
So aware and so consistent of rotations as well. So yeah, it's going to be a big loss for them. But you know, Dynam's the coach. You'd expect him to know every strat. You'd expect him to know everything that's that this team have built from a tactical perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll kind of he'll fit right in.
I think he'll be dialed into the strategies. I think he'll know where his position lies. He'll know where Baghdad was and where he needs to fill in on each and every single map. He is the coach, as you mentioned, and I'm sure he'll be fully aware of how his team wants him to play. The question is, though, is just that chemistry, right? That experience in Baghdad. How will that detract from the performance? And I think it will. I think you'll notice there's a hole somewhere. They're not playing up to their usual standard. We might not see the cracks in the armor in this particular game. We might just see those individual shotguns coming out, which of course Dynam does have plenty of raw skill, which I'm sure you'll put on showcase very soon. But yeah, I really do fancy Supremacy to win this. But that's the main storyline for me, and I'll keep going back to it. Baghdad is not there. Dynam is. We'll have to see how that.
You could say as well that Evo, when they saw the lineup for this event, that especially as they've found out this morning that they're going to be playing Supremacy first, that Baghdad not being the team, it's definitely they could take advantage of that, like you say, those gaps, that that chemistry that maybe they don't have because Dynam is not there. Baghdad is not there. Excuse me. So Evo will definitely try and play on that. I probably would see. I probably can imagine seeing that they'll try and focus Dynam a little bit more if they have any sense, potentially, so that they can try and, as you say, pierce that Supremacy armor to ultimately give them a better chance of winning this game. Because as you say, it is definitely one-sided at first glance, definitely. So Evo are going to have to pull out all the stops to kind of go on and do this.
We are just waiting for all players to get into the lobby. Just waiting. Right now for every single player to get in. As you can see on our screen is Evo. We're looking ready and raring to go. That cape, you can just tell it's velvet from the camera.
I love that cape. I want that. I'm going to go and speak to that guy after. I don't believe I know the player's name, but I'm definitely going to go and find him and be like, where did you get your velvet cape, man? Because that is something special, let me tell you. I do love it. But yeah, they look very relaxed. Looking on screen, looking at the guys, they look relaxed. There's no panic. You can see the guy with the cape is now warming up, and he's given his focus on the screen. He's ready. He must be raring to go.
I do believe most of these players on Evo are new to the LAN environment. This is their first match of the day. It is on main stage, so maybe some nerves going into this. They are against Supremacy. First day, that might play a part in this overall matchup. Looking at them there, they look okay. They're maybe hard to judge at this point how much nerves are going to affect things and how it's affecting them mentally and psychologically. But we'll have to wait and see actually, if we do pick up on anything like that, going into this one.
I was just going to say, actually, because I've actually been in a similar situation myself from my very low to average to low standard days. I think we had a team and we played main stage at the last EGL event in England, which was EGL London. Yep. We played Jack Reaction's team, and obviously then they were kind of the second best team. You had Supremacy, Fable, and then you had Jack Reaction's team. And obviously, I don't know the names for the life of me, so I apologise. I can't remember the name. I believe it was either DZ. But we were on main stage the first game. This pickup team, and definitely it was playing on our minds that we don't want to kind of show. We don't want to be in a situation where we look bad on main stage. So that, if anything, for us, it did. I think the game got cut off after 2 minutes because of the electricity, which was unfortunate. But when we had that first couple of maps, we really did. We were slaying out. We were kind of competing with the shotguns on a one-to-one basis. So that will definitely play on Evo's mind. Coming into this game, that they don't want to look bad on main stage. They want to kind of give it their all and show some individual skill that can be worth mentioning in the coming months after this event.
I think if I was them, right, if there are some nerves, playing at the back of the mind, just get this first map out of the way. Just get in there. Get into the shotgun battles. Don't be afraid to play as you usually do online. Definitely. Contest things. Don't play too hesitant, but also don't play reckless. Play it safe. Realize this is a LAN environment now. You're at a very high stakes tournament, albeit early on. But also consider it practice, right? It's safe to say that Supremacy are the heavy favorites going into this one. They are the underdogs. And, Forge Blitz is a very technical map in itself. They do need to have their comms on point. Their teamwork needs to be there. They need to be gelling as quickly as they can just focus on the game and perhaps less so the environment. You know, we'll have to see if that affects things. But here we do finally go. Thank you all for waiting, folks at home. Forge Blitz is the first map, and as I just alluded to, a very technical one, teamwork heavy, quite open in many areas, and I'm sure that's something Supremacy are going to be abusing to their fullest, but expect perhaps some aggressive gameplay coming up from the French side.
I'm definitely going to be expecting them to come out here straight off the races and really push Evo quite heavy. I believe that Supremacy, given the game that this is, they're going to be very, very aggressive, very, very aggressive. You know, obviously we've got that, you know, that standard fight, you know, at the top and control room up the top there. So I'm sure that's normally a 2v2 battle, and I'm sure we're going to see this now on the screens. It's normally a 2v2 battle, so I'm sure Supremacy are going to really kind of show them who's bossed early on, straight away, come out the races and really kind of give them try and dent their confidence immediately.
Sure. Well, let's bring up that overhead and see where exactly every player is going to go. As you mentioned, a 2v2 fight up top, base strategy, typically for any team on this map, is what we see right in front of us. On board with Zorkos, perhaps one of the most aggressive players in Europe, picks up that kill on Evo Conflict, and Physics finds White Boy, and boy, is that a nice Lancer. I actually really like that. that
I was literally just about to say, I love the bubbles.
It is gorgeous.
But yeah, no, you see, look, it's a four-man wipe straight away, and Dupe's on his own here, and he gets taken down, and so Supremacy already playing for the trip cap, and we're seeing we're seeing early on domination from Supremacy here. Strike is taking out White Boy. Physics taking out Tartarus, and you know this is a bad spot to be in when you're Evo, if you're Evo.
Yeah, you can see Conflict running around there, trying to break things on B. Let's check out C. As you can see, Conflict actually did get taken out of B, and that leaves C wide open for triple cap to come through. And you know, just under a minute, Supremacy start off strong. It's safe to say.
I know, you know, obviously, I know I kind of said before we went into this game that I love upsets, but, you know, if that's anything to go by, this could be a pretty quick game. This could be over pretty quickly. And I'd just like to mention again, you know, you said that control tower fight, that 2v2 control tower fight, it did not take long, you know, for Supremacy to pick those two guys off, rush over to B, control that B with three guys, and you know, kind of push forward for the trip cap domination. And it kind of looked like the Evo couldn't do anything about that at all. And that's you know, a bad spot to be in for Evo right now. So let's hope they give some. Sorry for a better phrase, but let's hope they give some in this next round and come out.
Yep. Snipers were placed down in the power room and security office, on board with Physics, who's the man to pick that up for Supremacy. Firing shots across Forge Blitz here over towards the B side. And look at that aggression from, who is that on the right? That is Chris, who's pushed his 1v there against Dupe. Conflict and will fall, and so will White Boy. And as Strikers wins his 1v down there by the Incinerator, it looks like Supremacy are playing just as we saw in that previous match with Odin, aggressive as possible, running towards the enemy home hill. And
this, you know, I don't want to say it again, but you know, Evo need to do something here to kind of get out their own home hill. You know, Strikers is just taking on. There's another two-piece for Strikers. He's kind of just sitting there, you know, going off the players. This guy doesn't know what's going on. He takes out the thirds. And look, you know, Evo need to do something here. They need to try and get some, you know, they need to try and kind of push forward. They need to try and take those shotgun fights. And you know, if this is anything to go by, Supremacy could, you know, really kind of not only just whitewash this, but you know, show some pretty pure domination.
They look very happy as well on the camera. Elliot, they do look very comfortable right now, both in game and out. And it's down to Tids to actually place the next weapon. It will be Intens up top. You know, perhaps a controversial placement, if anything, given how dominant Supremacy have been up there. You can pick them up, you can throw them down on B. If somehow Supremacy do lose that B fight, you know, win the top battle, that could be very fruitful for them in their hands. But let's see, how is that going to influence the opening strat? I don't think it will change things up too much. Wouldn't be surprised if Evo do change their opening strat, but no, they won't. They'll keep to their guns. Let's see from Evo's point of view if they can do something here in the control room.
I just think that incense placement there, you know, Evo haven't won that once in control tower. You know, to give them free incense like that as well, that's a bad play from Evo, in my opinion. It's a massively bad play.
A very quick pickup, wasn't it, from Supremacy? They abused that textbook play from them. And there's some amazing shotgunning from Dynam as he picks up that double. And also that previous Incen Tartarus all in his lonesome, straight into the chainsaw to end this round in style. That is now 3-0.
3-0. And this is a very bad spot. We see, we see the guy with the velvet cape on there on the screen right now.
I think the cape's gone.
I think the cape has gone. I think he's pulling out all the stops now.
I think he's got a little bit serious.
Yeah, no, he's definitely taking it more seriously now. So that cape has been thrown to the side. But no, again, just to kind of go off that placement, that last placement. Evo haven't won that control tower once. They've lost it 2 rounds in a row. Pretty quickly, might I add, and they've added, incens, and incens are a powerful weapon. If you get it in the right hands of the right person, that's a powerful
Dynam,
weapon.
of course,
so,
yeah. He used them to great effectiveness there straight away and sending the first player in cover in front of him. Drop shot, though, going down in Incinerator, and that's going to change things up massively. Definitely. Saw it in the previous match, putting the second biggest power weapon actually in the opposite end of the map. Does change up the initials significantly. Let's jump on board with Strikers this time. He has been going here every single round. His teammates are going to be joining them here. Come Evo actually looking for the aggressive push, and I like that. Trying to single out that one player on the left. Strikers is having none of it. Flying back in. Physics did get the quick pickup, meanwhile, looking at bottom left, but he did get taken out. Incinerator button pressed from that control room. But here comes Supremacy reinforcements. Chris has got the flank on Dupe. The body check comes in. Strikers tries to close the gap of conflict. Nicely done. Chris is still fighting as well, meanwhile, from the enemy's office. And so he's just going to be that thorn in the side of Evo. White Boy does pick up that meat shield to try and hold off. So, Supremacy could have ran away with this already, but instead Evo are still holding on just about.
They're doing a lot better than the previous 3 rounds, definitely. And, we saw Strikers there just run at that player, showing showing absolutely no fear. And when you see these matchups, and you see these matchups between someone like Evo, someone like Supremacy, that is just a pure I don't care, I'm running at you. You don't like to see that. You don't like to see that. And I don't think I've seen Supremacy so far pull out a Lancer, which is saying something. And
force the shotgun
balance,
exactly,
right? Exactly. And they've completely just dominated in the shotgun fights. They're taking all their 1Vs. I will agree that Evo did a great job there to kind of get the incendiary, push the button for the incendiary tower to ensure they didn't get the drop shot. They did well to control that for about 2 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. So they did well for that 2 seconds. So they could take some confidence from that and maybe try and turn this around. But no,
I think it was only Chris really that really stopped Evo from excelling down in that area. Chris went on a wild goose chase for enemies around the back there. Strikers on board with him once again. But let's flick to this other side, because Chris, he's already picked up the B hill. Zorkos with incense in hand from that control room, and of course he's pressed that button immediately. Knowing that Evo sent all these players to this side of the map, he can press that button, ensure the power weapon's not going to be picked up, wait for his teammates to regroup, and then make plays once they're all there.
But it almost seems like Evo are scared to push on, and obviously, of course, given the situation, you would be. But Tartarus with a headshot there in that incinerator room. You love to see that, but Evo were kind of almost sat back there in their own hill. They weren't putting any pressure at all on the incendiary tower. It's almost like they're scared to fight them, and that's not a good place to be in. If once you get into that situation, it's a very, very hard game to play. So, and look, we see that again. That Supremacy really not using any type of tactics here. They're just running at them. They're just taking every single 1v1 they can. 2v1, 3v1. You don't like to see this. You really don't.
Chris with the 1v, perhaps to close out the round. There comes his teammate from the right, and I think that will seal it. Respawn timer allowing. Yep, it will. Tartarus, he was sitting right at the back there with that sniper, and I kind of like that. Usually when you expect to have a big team fight and you have loads of players around you in your peripheral vision, you'll be looking at them, the closest one, who's going to push me, who's going to answer me. Tartarus sitting at the back, it'd be hard for a lot of players to actually clock that player. So
what I don't agree with in that sense, obviously we love to see the headshot. Everyone loves to see, obviously we come here, we watch these events to see fantastic magical plays, right? But what I don't agree with here is that going back to my last point about not putting any pressure in that mid, that incinerator, they're just sitting back. They're waiting for Tartarus to get a headshot, but they can't do that because Supremacy are running at them. They're literally just flying at them, so they haven't got any time to try and do that. So the only way that Evo are going to kind of cause any pressure here on Supremacy is they've got to fight them.
I feel as though with that numbers advantage, they should have been up in their face straight away. And that's why the button was pressed. And as you can see on your screen, folks, boom shot was placed at control tower, so that's going to change things up dramatically on that end. Strikers has a free pickup, it seems, of this drop shot. Let's see how this one pans out up top. Those Zorkos already picking that weapon up and a kill to go along with it. White Boy is stuck. Dynam keeping his distance. Textbook gameplay from that new player for the team. Of course, Coach, as we mentioned earlier, filling it in for Baghdad. And he's having a great game thus far with his kills and his positioning evidently there. power weapons are clearly on the side of Supremacy. Physics, even with a sniper on the enemy's home hill now. They just need to start capping their C hill to get this triple cap chime down.
And I just want to point out as well that going back to my last point again, you know, Supremacy had both boom and drop shot in the space of 10 seconds. You know, I know, and you know, I'm sure you're going to say this, but we expected this to happen. So it's nothing different. You know, it's nothing different to what we expected. But to let them pick up the boom and the drop shot in 10 seconds, they've got to put pressure on one of those weapons.
They've got to put the numbers to one side for sure, and then be aggressive with that. As you can see on your screen, I have to point it out. The Velvet Cape
he's back on.
Is back on. Yeah. Can you hear the commentators? He's picked up on something, or he's just noticed it's fallen off his shoulders and quickly put that back on. But
I love that cape.
Maybe they'll help. Maybe they'll help. We'll have to wait and see. Judged from the overhead, of course, it is the second half. Those power weapons are wiped from the map, but Strikers is still going to that very same area. He knows his position and role on this map, picking up kills. But as Tartarus, button press. Communication.
Yeah, maybe.
That will prevent a triple cap if they were to go for it.
I was going to say that I think that you know, I think it was good that Evo tried to take that, but you know, in the end, it didn't. To know it, you know, they didn't come to any avail. But you know, it's good to see that they tried to push that B, you know, that E hill. Sorry, excuse me. So it was definitely better. It's a better showing from Evo, trying to kind of put pressure on those two guys from Supremacy going into E, but. You know, we look at this again. That you know, you're looking at the left hand of your screen, and all we're seeing is red, 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 red. SY Strikers, SY Zorkos getting the kills, and you know, Evo have got to stop this. They've got to stop this going into the next map. Because I don't believe this is going to be any. You know, they're not going to win this one, definitely.
Tartarus is going to bow out there. Tids is trying to run in, see if he can get a kill. He finds Physics.
Tids taking it
as well, and somehow many players are now falling for the French side. All of a sudden, Tids fighting his way out. Strikers forced to find cover from somewhere, but he will fall. And bit of a slip-up from Supremacy there, and a little bit of a teabag from Tids as he's making the enemy team aware of such mistakes.
Yeah, J Tids with the free-piece. I'm sure he didn't get the last down there, but that nice two-piece. He's probably going to take a lot of confidence from that, but Dynam's ran into Physics Incendiary button press.
I mean, okay, have we got a triple cap? No, we have not. Let's just take a breather for a second. Evo have come flying out of that triple cap opportunity from Supremacy. Dynam's jumping into the flames, and now Supremacy all of a sudden are capping as well. Can White Boy reach a hill? He's looking for kills instead. Not going to reach it. It will come down to a 7-0. But that was an interesting round at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
picked up a little bit.
You saw the kind of back and forth, and you know, I think Evo had that trip cap. There must have been, I'm sure, the communication at that point. You know, given the situation, they were 6-0 down. That must have been crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, you look at White Boy there, just to go back, and it may be a lack of communication, a lack of organisation, the structure they have as a team. I'm not too sure how long they've been a team for, but you know, you look at that White Boys going for the kill rather than going for the hill, and they're being trip capped, and it's little things like that that are going to cost you games.
It could have been, you know, the assumption that they were going to lose that round, and then suddenly Tids pulls off a double kill and a team kill from the enemy team. I think maybe they just got a little bit too excited, they're a little bit too trigger happy. Yo, we're still in this game, fly, fly, fly. And, you know, perhaps lacked a bit of organisation, as you said there. But, you know, nonetheless, at the end of the day, it is a 7-0, and it's not too different to the previous game. It seems like the underdogs are true underdogs in this one. And, you know, speaking of underdogs, the Cape and the man donning is being quite vocal now, actually, with his teammates.
He's angry. I mean, he is angry. He's the Cape's probably giving him some form of confidence, trying to drive him to Superman. He's a modern day Superman of Evo. But